Hi everyone, it's Sonia here. I'm here to give you another update on what's going on in China. The way that they're using the QR code, it's leading exactly where a lot of us thought it would lead, actually. For the last several months, you have to show a QR code to do absolutely anything in China. Literally all activities of daily living require permission that can only be granted to you if you show your QR code. It's now a real proposal to inject some chips in people's bodies. And also, something that not too many people know was that recently many people had been shut out of their bank accounts in China. When we look at what's happening now in China, this could be very well what could be happening to us down the road in the not so distant future. So I think it's very important to look at what's going on there because it's giving us a lot of clues. So I'm going to give you all the details on this. And before I start, I just want to say thanks for liking the video. Thank you for your support on Patreon. That keeps my channel going. I really appreciate your support on there. My Patreon, it's like an extra blog that I have. I do post the links every time I make a video or I do a live so that you personally get notified in case YouTube doesn't notify you. You can also message me on there. And I also give extra info. And sometimes I write articles that are just for Patreon as well. So if you donate even as little as $1 on there, that's the way that you can help me with my work that I do online. And it's a little bit of a way for you to get some extra too. Also, I want to let you know I did get my bottle of C60 EVO. You guys, I did an entire video about this not long ago because this is something that's been so extremely helpful for me. So those of you who watch my channel know that I have suffered, unfortunately, for the last 10 years from some weird problems like chronic pain and chronic fatigue that haven't really responded to too much overall. Unfortunately, one of the problems I've had also is brain fog. Just complete inability to hold like two thoughts in my head. And fortunately for me, though, this has been really helpful. The C60 EVO has been very helpful for me with my sleep and also my pain, but especially also with my ability to focus. And so I'm very happy to have received it. You guys might notice, you know, I've been making some better videos lately. I think that maybe it's because of this. Anyhow, it's been very helpful to me. I'm very happy to promote it. And if you are interested for more info and a discount, just check out the link below. So let's talk about China. I found this clip online, and it's a woman who's talking about what's going on in China. Now, all the stuff that she's saying, I'm going to show you some other footage that's going to completely back it up. Now, you've already seen my other videos about the lockdowns. So that's like the backstory to this. And then what comes next? Well, that's what she's going to talk about in this video. So let's check it out.
See that green code up there? It's a green QR code. That is called your safety code. And when the safety code is green, when you have to show your code anywhere, entering a market, going to a bus, going to an airplane, going to another neighborhood.
So this was a clip that I showed you some time ago where people are literally on their knees before these government health officials or maybe their police. They have to show a QR code to prove they have tested negative for COVID in the last 48 hours. Oh my God, look at this one. It's even being scanned by a robot dog. I heard about this. They can even get rid of police because they have all these robots here that will, I mean, look at this thing. It's like literally a guard dog in front of the gate that is going to scan your QR code to decide if you can come in or not. To get your valid QR code, you have to go to a mass testing site every couple of days and wait around for hours to get swabbed. Quite an onerous task. If it's negative, you can go about your business, but you have to prove your green status every step of the way. Here's a clip of a woman going through a neighborhood. She actually just wants to go to a grocery store. And see how she has to stand in line. They all have to get scanned. Checkpoint number 1. But wait, there's more. She walks a few feet and guess what? You get scanned again. I mean, really. Again. And it has her name and her address on it that she has registered before. So, wow. I mean, that's a lot of checkpoints. Here's what it's like to go shopping in China. So this woman's coming to a mall. She's got a scan to come in. And then once they're inside the mall, they just have to keep scanning. I think I saw this report some months ago, and she was saying, well, if this is what we have to do to stay safe, then I guess it's okay. So notice they all have to have their cell phones to be able to show that they're green, they can go in. So back to what this lady was saying.
You have to scan in your code. If your code is yellow, that means you are restrained. You can only go in your neighborhood. They suspect you. If that code turns into red, you are practically jailed in your home. You are in prison. You can't go anywhere.
I want to show you what happens when somebody shows up in public with the red QR code. Apparently, this is what happened here at, I don't know, it was a train station, a bus station, or something like that. Apparently, someone had it came up red, and it led to a stampede. Here's another case of someone having a red QR code with an ensuing stampede. It's every man for himself. A lot of chaos ensuing. I would guess that's because if it's red, it means, well, the person hasn't been recently tested, so maybe they have COVID. So I would guess that all these people want to get away from them as quickly as possible because that person technically isn't safe. You know, we don't know if they have it or not. None of these people want to be a red person's contact because guess what? Then they're also going to end up jailed in their own homes. So that's the chaos you get. Okay, back to this lady.
And with that code, the second you scan that code in, everything will pop up on your phone, will pop up in government's computer. That is your health record, when your last time go doing testing. If you don't do tests for a few days, the code will turn yellow. And where did you go? They have all your life, entire set of data. The government has all the data. It's all done automatically. It's all done with machine, with all the AI technology.
So it's all automated. It's all centralized through a database, and it's required absolutely everywhere you go. So everywhere you go, this is what you're dealing with. So crazy. Everybody has to go along with it because what are you going to do? Be the one person who refuses? You know? Probably that's why they started with China, because they know that people were pretty compliant. Imagine if they tried to do that in America. I have a feeling they would have had a lot of refusers. They would have had a lot more resistance than they got over there.
So the government can even reduce its police forces. It's all AI now. So with that code, you control your life. So how about if I go out, I lost my phone. So if you lost your phone, you'll not be able to go home. And you have to go through enormous trouble to get yourself another phone, another code. And it's now, I am not joking, but it's a real proposal today to inject some chips to people's body.
You heard that. It's now a real proposal to inject some chips in people's bodies. Quite understandable, because what they're doing right now is totally unsustainable. I mean, you've seen the chaos. I mean, to us who are out here, who we don't have the system, I mean, honestly, it looks kind of crazy. It's like, what do you need this for COVID? I mean, we live here. I don't have to scan to prove I've had a negative test to go into a grocery store, to really go anywhere. Life is okay. I don't see a big disaster happening. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but yes, the rest of the world is somehow living with this situation without doing this. And yet in China, it's mandatory. It's like they have created a problem. You know what I'm saying? By requiring the constant testing and the constant proof of the green QR code, they have created a problem. And through that problem, there has been created a need to have a better system that's not so burdensome and chaotic. Enter now maybe an injectable chip. Because what happens if you lose your phone, right? That's what she was saying. Something injectable, just wave your hand. I mean, problem, reaction, solution, right? So not a big surprise to many of us who, when we saw them rolling out the vaccine passport, the QR codes here in Quebec, for example, where you had to scan to go into increasingly more and more random places, such as not only the movie theaters and the restaurants, or, you know, places like arenas with a lot of people, but then just the liquor store, the pawn shop, even the big box stores, the stores with the most space and the most air that were supposed to be the most safe in the beginning. Then you needed a QR code to get in them. Obviously, it was a little bit random, probably a lot of it very much political. Didn't work anyway. Didn't do very much to get people to go along with the program. So as we saw this, we said, well, look at that. Justin Trudeau's giving each province $1 billion to implement the system, which is going to be used for what? A few months? I mean, how long is this going to go on for? What, this silly thing where you have to scan to go in the liquor store or go to Costco? $1 billion? What for? Here we are 6 months later, it's completely gone. Except for, federally regulated stuff like a train, a plane, or a boat, but not a bus. You can still get on a packed bus and go wherever you want, but it's still mandated for travel outside of Canada and within Canada. But these provincial vaccine passport systems they're gone, right? They're probably going to come back. But when we saw this, we were concerned that, yeah, they could come back. They could be used to enforce whatever the government wants. It could be COVID, it could be something else, it could be another disease or something completely unrelated to disease. And we also foresaw this would be difficult and burdensome and chaotic. And yes, what if you lose your phone? You're completely screwed. So we also thought maybe down the road they would make it implantable because it's just logical. But a lot of us don't want it. And we don't like the idea of being forced into it. Not one bit. Especially the Christians. So that's where they're at with China. So I'm thinking, well, if it could happen in China, who's to say it couldn't happen over here? A lot of things have already happened over here that we thought would never happen. So nothing would surprise me at this point. So here's the other thing. A lot of Chinese people suddenly discovered that all their money was gone. They'd been locked out of their bank accounts and their money has been seized. It doesn't exist anymore.
Nearly 1 million Chinese customers are unable to access their bank deposits. Chinese media reports those accounts hold a value of $1.5 billion. Accusations are flying that the impacted state-run banks might be involved in money fraud. If that proves true, and without far-reaching protections in China, bank customers could lose their money. We spoke with some of the victims.
Nearly 1 million bank customers have run into a problem in central China's Henan province. They can't access their deposits. The problem has spanned for more than a month in 4 rural banks. China's bank regulator addressed the issue, explaining the hold on funds. The 4 banks were found to be involved in illegal wealth collecting activities and are all under investigation. But customers accused the regulator of failing to safeguard people's interest in the first place. Some of the affected customers gathered Monday in front of the province's Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission. They asked authorities to return their money since all banks in China are state-controlled.
How crazy is that? State-controlled banks in China. Now the government is shutting them down, accusing them of doing something illegal and taking away everybody's money. So something doesn't make sense here. I don't think that standing outside with a sign is going to fix the problem either. As far as I can tell, China doesn't really listen when people complain. I mean, they basically just ripped everybody off. And who's going to stop them?
Many customers had deposited their life savings in the 4 banks. As part of the demonstration, some of them held banners shouting phrases like, "We beg the state to help us. We request the freedom to withdraw from banks."
Oh my God. We beg the state to help us. They're begging. We request the freedom to withdraw from banks. It's their money. And now you have to request freedom? Request freedom to be allowed to take your own money out, to have access to your own money that you saved? Okay, this is completely insane. I mean, you might say, oh, well, you know, it's China. They do crazy things. Things that we thought were crazy that China was doing, like I said, it's been happening here too, some of it. We don't have a social credit system, but we had the vaccine passports. And during the trucker protests, some people's bank accounts were frozen also, just for having donated to a GoFundMe, not actually having even committed a crime. Nothing. Just because of apparently the political wrongthink. So, I mean, who's to say that if it happens to China, it couldn't happen here? I think at this point, absolutely anything could happen. So I wanted to share this with you so that you could look through that window into what could possibly be our future. What can we do about it? I don't want to sound negative here, but I don't really think it can be stopped. I mean, especially not if it's biblical, which a lot of us are starting to think. But the one thing that we can do is, if it comes down to where you have to scan something to go into a business, you know, maybe the only thing you can do is just say, well, I'm not going into that business. Because our choice is, do we participate? Or do we just, you know, suffer the consequences? I'm trying to be careful here, because I don't know if, like, YouTube has some rules about talking about the end times, or who knows what the rules are today. They could be one set yesterday and another one today. But you guys know I'm talking about Revelation. And there's no easy way out of that situation. Whether you go along with it or you don't go along with it, it doesn't end well either way. But for those who endure to the end, they do have their reward afterwards. Whereas the others will taste the wrath of God, drink from the cup of the wrath of God. Drink from the cup of the wrath of God, which is poured out in full strength. So if I have to choose between drinking from the cup of the wrath of God, which is poured out in full strength, versus, you know, maybe having to go through some horrible things and then being able to be in the presence of God for all eternity and worship at His feet, I think, you know, I'll take the bad outcome now for the good outcome later, rather than having the wrath of God and the loathsome sores. I mean, I'm giving you guys a heads up. It looks like we're really there. So anyhow, let me know what you think. I mean, thank God that today we still have a beautiful day, and we're still not drinking from the cup of the wrath of God or suffering martyrdom for refusing to follow the beast and worship his image. So I'll take what I can get today. Grateful that it's a nice day, and the apocalypse isn't quite here yet. And praying for God to give me the strength to endure through whatever is about to befall us. But like I said, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm not going to worry about that. Although I kind of think the deadline is like 2030. But anyway, I'm going to have a good summer for now. But heads up, looks like the stuff is happening. So, you know. And that's it. Let me know what you think. Thanks for hitting like. Thank you for your support on Patreon. And don't forget to check this out. Good stuff. It really helps me a lot. And I think you'll probably enjoy it too. So check it out for more info and a discount. And thanks for listening to me. And I'll see you next time.